Hi, everyone. I am Nikki, the coach, and I started this series to give pointers and guidance to folks who are like me. I'm an empath, I'm an A-type, recovering perfectionist, and chronic overthinker. And I'm also an absolute junkie for all things related to resilience, to self-awareness, and to growing. And I want to give these tools to others so that we can all go out into the world and be the best versions of ourselves as possible. If you were to ask the average person what their favorite time of the day is, they're probably going to tell you a quick story about a daily habit that they have. And it's typically oriented toward comfort. So it's when they're putting on their baggy clothes. It's when they're taking off their bra at the end of the day. It's when they're laying in bed, scrolling through their phone, looking at TikTok videos. So we all look forward to comfort. And that is never going to change. Comfort is not a negative thing, but it is really seductive. Comfort and the threat of losing comfort is all it takes for some people to do some pretty crazy things. And inversely, people who are unafraid of discomfort are really difficult to manipulate and control because they have their sights set on something that is far more important in their life than feeling comfortable. I believe that even the most comfort-loving person has some kind of room for a cause or for a passion that justifies enduring discomfort in order to protect something or in order to bring about something that is really important to them. So in this episode, I'm going to be addressing that really dodgy topic that most of us hold, that discomfort is some kind of adversary to be vanquished. And by the end of the video, I'm hoping that you will have a really different perspective on what kind of insights your discomfort can provide you. And who knows, maybe you'll actually end up embracing discomfort and bringing it into your life more intentionally. A quick backstory. Both of my parents are really skilled in pressure points. My dad was especially fond of using pressure points as a form of disciplinary correction. It was really easy to do in public. It's not like spanking where, there's very strong feelings around spanking, whether or not it's harmful. Pressure points don't feel good, but they don't leave marks. They're not psychologically damaging, and they were really effective at getting our attention when we were being particularly unruly. Once in a while, my dad would find a particularly spicy pressure point, and he would apply it to us so that we knew what it felt like. And if we started getting really dramatic and squirmy and, making a big deal out of it, he would hold steady pressure on the pressure point, and he would tell us to just feel it. Breathe into it. Don't hold your breath. Acknowledge that you're feeling it and just let it be. And then after we would relax and feel the feeling, he would release. And that is how he taught us that discomfort is just a feeling. And because it's just a feeling, it's not something that we needed to run away from or go out of our way to avoid. So we learned at a very young age how to sit with discomfort and recognize that it was just one of many feelings. And that's the lesson that I really want to share with you, is that at its core, discomfort is just a feeling. And feelings themselves have value and they matter. So I'm not trying to discredit feelings. What I am saying is that feelings are not reflective of reality. Feelings do not need to control your responses. You can honor a feeling without succumbing to it. So it's possible to feel very strongly and still respond thoughtfully. That does not make you a hypocrite. It makes you reflective. So discomfort really comes down to this feeling of, I don't like that. And it's not harmful or damaging. We just don't like how something feels. It's really a preference. There's two really common yet very impactful consequences of avoiding discomfort. The first one is that it constricts our options and our opportunities. I want you to think about that for a moment. If you are afraid of feeling discomfort, you're not going to see the value in trying new approaches or in considering different solutions. You just get boxed in, and then you lose sight of the bigger picture. And a consequence of that is often that we start feeling really, really frustrated in our lives with how little things seem to be going our way. The second major consequence is that it manipulates your emotions and your decisions. This consequence is going to be the most obvious in your personal relationships and in your inner dialogue. For example, many couples say that they value honesty in their relationships. But if you can't bring yourself to tell your partner how you really feel about the way that they talk to you in front of your kids, that discomfort that keeps you from speaking up is not only going to drain you, but it's also setting up the framework of what your children will consider to be normal or will consider to be how adults interact with each other. And not only that, but couples who insist that they value honesty but don't know how to be honest with themselves, they don't know how to be honest with their partner. So your discomfort with telling the truth is going to be a constant point of contention in the relationship. Even though you may want to be honest, the discomfort keeps you from doing it. And that inability to be honest is going to prevent you from discussing issues before they become really major dysfunctions in a relationship. And it doesn't always have to be a romantic relationship. It can be a relationship that you have with a parent. It can be a relationship that you have with a business partner. It really runs the gambit. So here's some quick homework. Take a moment and consider what makes you feel uncomfortable. Aside from the obvious, external conditions like feeling cold and feeling hungry, list out 5 things that make you feel like running away or at the very least procrastinating. And then after you've made your list, take a look at it. And I want you to consider how many decisions you have made that have shaped your life, all because you were avoiding those 5 things. Extend it even further. What kind of changes do you think you might see in your life if those 5 things no longer controlled your behavior? I know it's a really dense question, and I encourage you to not just breeze through it. Sit with it. I know it's not comfortable, but hey, that's what this entire episode is about. When I realized that I was generating my own suffering by making all of these fear-based decisions was a very humbling one. It doesn't feel good when you realize that you're the common denominator in your problems. I know. And I think that a lot of us have that reckoning moment, but a lot of people respond by indulging in self-loathing. And they chalk it up to, oh, that's just how I am, and people have to accept me, and I don't need to change. I'm never going to change, and I don't need to change. Okay, yes, some of the qualities that we have are innate, and they're just going to be with us as long as we're alive. But most of the qualities that we have only appear to be permanent because we believe them to be so. So we are attributing certain responses or habits we have to being a part of our identity. It doesn't really sound like a big deal, but what happens when you tie those qualities into your identity is that your brain now wants to protect that habit or that quality, even if it means indulging in irrational behavior and irrational thoughts. Because that is what your ego does. It protects you. Truth time. You are exactly what you think you are. If you don't like how things are going in your life, your first step is to change your mind. It's a simple decision, but it does feel intimidating. So if you feel intimidated, it's okay. Feeling freaked out is a really great sign that you're actually doing it right. To move things along, I've compiled a list of the most common causes for discomfort. Hearing the truth, facing consequences of your actions, taking ownership of your behavior, being hungover or recovering from overindulgence, physical development like working out, being challenged, dealing with change, any kind of movement from low to high skill, resistance and denial. If you read an item on that list and you felt any sort of defensiveness or denial pop up, take note of that. It's okay. The feeling is really revealing of where we feel the most protective of our intellectual and our emotional comfort. If it wasn't a tender spot, then it wouldn't hurt when it was poked. I've said it before, and I will say it again and again and again. Our brains do not like discomfort. So like I said in my episode about resilience, your brain wants to conserve energy and it wants to get rewards. It wants to feel good. So our life choices can either be ones that we are making to appease the meat in between our ears, or we can harness our brains and shape them to work for us. Our brains can only call the shots when we let them. So at the very least, becoming aware of why you want to do things gives you more power to make deliberate and wise decisions more often. If you're really struggling with relinquishing your comfort and embracing new approaches and trying new things, here are some thoughts that you can use to start getting some distance between you and your fear of discomfort, things to just keep in the back of your mind that will help ease your way along. This is only a feeling. This is temporary. Growth is always hardest in the beginning. This is what growth feels like. Blank is more important than protecting my comfort. I left that blank because it's up to you to decide what belongs there. My children's future is more important than protecting my comfort. Repairing my marriage, pursuing the career, putting together that nonprofit organization, working for social justice. All of those things belong in that slot because every single one of us do in fact have a passion or a cause deep within us that is unafraid of discomfort. And once you tap into that, your decision making looks completely different and in a really, really beautiful way. My closing encouragement to you is this. Don't let discomfort intimidate you out of living a life that you're going to enjoy not only as it's happening, but also when you go back and look at it. Embracing discomfort is not only going to open up more opportunities for you, but it also sets a really wonderful example for others in your life who may be struggling with the same thing. So you might be the one person who breaks a generational trauma by deciding to lean into a difficult conversation or allow growth to become your default mode of operation, even though no one else in your family is doing it. That's okay. It's okay to be the first to do something because I guarantee you there are so many other people out there doing the exact same thing. And we need to support one another. We need to encourage one another to become those people. Thank you for watching this episode. Once again, I'm Nikki the coach. And if you have any kind of stories about a time that you overcame an obstacle through embracing discomfort, I would love to hear about it. And in fact, I'm sure others would get encouragement from your story as well. So post it in the comments below or send it to me in an email in the link in the description box. And until the next episode, be badass. Mr. Beef! Oh, dude. Hi, Bubby. Hey, watch it, Buster. Go lay down. Hi, everyone. Nikki the coach here. My name is Nikki the coach, like I just said. So in this, he didn't need to raise his voice. Don't try to run away from it. Until next time.